Welcome to Voich Daily Finance, the most important news personalized for you every day. Supported by Voich.com.
Today we're diving into three interconnected stories about power, strategy, and global tensions. First, President Trump is weaponizing trade policy like never before, slapping Brazil with a 50% tariff while federal judges question the entire legal foundation. Then we'll explore how two vaccine giants are placing opposite bets on the future of medicine. Moderna's all-in mRNA gamble versus BioNTech's diversification strategy that just landed them an $11 billion payday. Finally, Nvidia finds itself trapped between two superpowers as China investigates its specially designed AI chips for hidden kill switches, even while the company quietly orders 300,000 more. A staggering 50% tariff just hit Brazil. And this isn't your typical trade dispute, it's the opening move in what's becoming a completely new form of international warfare. What we're witnessing is tariffs being transformed from simple economic tools into precision instruments of political pressure. The targeting of Brazil isn't coincidental. It's directly tied to the prosecution of former President Bolsonaro, Trump's political ally. We're essentially watching trade policy being used to influence the domestic legal proceedings of a sovereign nation, something that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Mexico managed to dodge a 30% tariff, but only by agreeing to eliminate what trade experts call non-tariff trade barriers within 90 days. These invisible obstacles, complex customs procedures, restrictive import licensing, unique product standards can actually be more devastating to trade than tariffs themselves. Removing them opens floodgates for US exporters. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick isn't mincing words about Canada. A 35% tariff is, quote, surely in the cards. South Korea already caved, accepting a 15% tariff after promising to invest $350 billion in US projects. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is where this money goes. The agreement gives President Trump personal discretion over which infrastructure, manufacturing, and energy projects receive funding. This level of presidential control over foreign investment is unprecedented and has transparency experts raising serious red flags about potential favoritism. India faces a 25% threat as negotiations stall over agricultural access, though intelligence suggests this pressure extends beyond farming to India's strategic relationships with Russia and the BRICS bloc. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of complexity at play. A federal appeals court is now questioning whether any of these tariffs are even legal under current law. The entire strategy hinges on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act from 1977, a law designed for targeted sanctions during genuine national emergencies, not broad tariffs over trade deficits. The Court of International Trade already ruled that trade deficits don't constitute the unusual and extraordinary threat the law requires. One judge was particularly blunt. IEPA doesn't even say tariffs, doesn't even mention them. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent admits a massive China trade deal remains, quote, not 100% done with an August 12th deadline looming. So we're left with this fascinating contradiction. While countries scramble to cut deals and markets brace for impact, the entire legal foundation of this aggressive strategy could crumble in a US courtroom. We were just talking about global power players. Now, let's shift our focus to a corporate showdown that's reshaping the future of medicine. Moderna's stock has collapsed 72% over the past year, while BioNTech has surged 29%, and the Divergent tells a fascinating story about two radically different visions. Both companies rode the pandemic to glory, each booking around $45 billion in COVID vaccine sales and pocketing about $20 billion in profit. But that's where their paths split dramatically. mRNA technology is essentially a biological instruction manual. It teaches cells to produce specific proteins that trigger immune responses. While we know it from COVID vaccines, researchers are now pushing it toward personalized cancer treatments and rare genetic diseases. The technology represents a platform with unlimited potential, but these two companies are betting on that platform in completely opposite ways. Today's scorecard, Moderna sits on $8.4 billion in cash, while BioNTech holds a massive $18.2 billion. The difference comes down to one fundamental choice. In biotech, this represents the classic platform versus portfolio dilemma. Do you bet everything on one revolutionary technology or spread risk across multiple innovations? These companies have become the ultimate real-world experiment. Moderna went all in on mRNA, a strategy one analyst described as a potential Shakespearean tragic flaw. They're cutting 10% of their workforce while waiting for their next breakthrough, with a key cancer treatment not launching until 2027 at the earliest. This represents pure high-risk, high-reward thinking. Moderna has invested over $4.5 billion in R&D to expand mRNA applications across flu, RSV, and other targets. Their personalized melanoma vaccine, when combined with another drug, reduced recurrence or death risk by 44% in early trials, the kind of home run that could justify their entire strategy. BioNTech chose a different path entirely. They went shopping, using their pandemic windfall to diversify into cancer treatment, cell therapies, and complex immunotherapies. They've been acquiring companies and technologies to quickly expand their pipeline beyond mRNA's limitations. The payoff came fast. BioNTech licensed an experimental cancer drug for $55 million, then flipped it into a partnership with Bristol Myers Squibb worth up to $11 billion. One analyst called the maneuver a dream. This sets up a defining Wall Street experiment. Moderna's laser-focused bet on core technology versus BioNTech's transformation into a diversified pharmaceutical powerhouse. The outcome will influence biotech innovation strategies for the next decade, determining whether the future belongs to specialists or generalists. Actually, this isn't just about two companies, it's a live case study playing out in real time with billions in market value hanging on which approach proves superior. All investment carries risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results. This information is for informational purposes only and not a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Speaking of companies caught between competing forces, Nvidia finds itself in an impossible position. China's top cybersecurity regulator is investigating the company's specially designed AI chips for containing secret kill switch technology. The technology in question isn't theoretical. These remote shutdown capabilities can be embedded directly into hardware through tiny hidden circuits, or implemented via firmware where a security coprocessor constantly monitors chip activity. While designed to prevent unauthorized use, they essentially give outside parties the power to remotely disable the technology. China's Cyberspace Administration claims Nvidia's H20 chips contain serious security vulnerabilities, specifically pointing to tracking and positioning capabilities identified by American experts. What really brought this to a head was the strategic timing. While China's security concerns may be legitimate, this investigation serves a larger purpose, providing cover for Beijing's massive investment in domestic AI alternatives. Companies like Huawei are developing competing chips, and publicly questioning Nvidia creates perfect justification for pouring billions into homegrown technology. Interestingly enough, US lawmakers are pushing for exactly what China fears. The bipartisan US Chip Security Act would mandate security mechanisms and location verification in exported AI chips. This could trigger what experts warn is a new era of hardware nationalism. Imagine every country demanding control over imported technology. It would fracture global supply chains, drive up costs, and slow innovation worldwide. Nvidia is paying a steep price for being caught between superpowers. The company already wrote down $4.5 billion in unsold inventory and missed $2.5 billion in sales last quarter due to export restrictions. Believe it or not, they're doubling down anyway. Despite the investigation and mounting pressure, Nvidia is reportedly ordering 300,000 more H20 chips to meet Chinese demand. Now, get this, while the H20 is technically less powerful than Nvidia's flagship H100 to comply with US rules, benchmarks show it's actually faster for certain critical AI tasks like running large language models. It's more than capable of significantly advancing China's AI capabilities, which explains the continued sky-high demand. The company is walking a tightrope between Washington's security demands and Beijing's sovereignty concerns. The question becomes whether Nvidia can maintain this delicate balance, or if their massive China bet is about to spectacularly backfire.
That's it for today on Voice Daily Finance. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.